Hi everyone. So for my semester-long project, initially I wanted to compare news sources covering the topic of electronic cigarettes, just because this is a more recent fad and I'm really interested in it, even though I'm not a smoker. A lot of my friends use them, and I see a lot of stores popping up specifically for e-cigs, and I know it's supposed to be healthier than smoking tobacco cigarettes. And I just kind of wanted to delve in and see what the actual facts were about that, but that kind of turned out to be too narrow of a topic, so I decided to just go with smoking in general. For my two news sources, I decided to use a medical source, and it's called Medical Today News, and it organized different categories of stuff into different articles, and it did it by date and all legit sites, citing factual things, and just perfect for this assignment and for me to go on each week and look at the more recent ones. It even went back as far as 2003, and you could just keep hitting the next pages. So I was basically in the category of smoking and quitting smoking, and that covered a wide span of topics. And then for my contrasting news source, I used Reddit, which I go on. It's more of a mix of social media that I bring up each week. I try to use that for a lot of things. And for that, I put in cigarettes as a search, and then as a filter, you can do either in the news that you don't get so many people posting personal topics. It's more actual news articles, and then people comment back and forth. So it's more of an opinion-based source, and then my other one was a medical source. So drastically different. And I learned so much about this, and it ended up including a lot about electronic cigarettes anyway, so that just worked its way right in there. And I found that a lot of the topics I was reading about were talked about in both sources, but responded to completely different. So my medical today news today source had things very factual, but still very easy to read, easy to navigate. It would highlight important quotes or important parts that you could just read and get the gist of the title and understand what's going on. And Reddit was more of an opinion based and asking people what they think about this and kind of reacting to the news source that was on, the more factual one. So I pretty much got a full spectrum view of certain news topics, especially with the electronic cigarettes. There was actually a whole subreddit just about electronic cigarettes where people could post about them, because you can kind of put what Twitter would call hashtags, but it's more of just a link for people to search a keyword, and then it will bring up that category. So I found it easier to work with my Medical Today news site, just because it was organized how I wanted it to be for this project. And with Reddit, it's more of an interest base, so everything is organized in different ways. So you can either look at most recent posts or top posts. And if you do most recent, you don't really get fulfilling articles. It's just kind of things that nobody liked, and anyone can post on it, so it's kind of empty filler posts. And to get what I wanted to actually read about, I would have to do the top ones that get the most upvotes. But then that led to a problem of each week I would kind of see the same things, and I would really have to skim through and look through different searches to find what I was looking for to mirror what I was looking at on my Medical News Today source. But it ended up working out pretty good. And I would have to say that Reddit was more biased than Medical News Today, just because it's people's opinions. So that right there's people that can be biased. But there were some people that actually give an intelligent view and take the time to comment, and it's definitely worth reading, and each comment can be upvoted as well. So when I looked at the stories, I read about most of the first page of comments, and those would be pretty worth it to read and helpful for me to understand what was going on. And then my Medical News Today was a little bit biased just because it's a health news reporting sites, so obviously they're not going to promote any sort of cigarette or smoking use, but at the same time they gave a wide span on things. They talked about how e-cigs are definitely beneficial, and research has been shown that people are they help people to stop smoking cigarettes if that's what they want to use them for. But then on Reddit, it's pretty obvious that people use them just as a replacement or in addition to smoking. So the beneficial factors don't really work for them if you're just smoking it constantly. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and I feel like I learned quite a lot and got a really good contrast between the two sources, and got to see that if you didn't read one and just read the other, that you wouldn't get the full spectrum. So this is definitely a worth it project, and I learned a lot.